So photographers ask me all the time, how can they charge more money and book higher end clients? And people think like, if I have better gear or if I have better techniques and my editing is just a little bit different, those are all really good things. But there's one thing you could do today, one change you can make this afternoon, and it's going to dramatically change the perceived value of your brand and your overall work. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a student's website, and she's got a great website, but what I think is happening is that her lack of intentional curation is actually devaluing her brand in a way that she may not be aware of. So I'm going to go into her website, I'm going to take a few examples, and I'm going to show you the before and afters of applying the tips that I'm going to teach so you can see a visual representation of how tiny little changes can immediately elevate your brand. All right, so we are at wavekissphotography.mypixieset.com. This is her website. She gave me permission to do a website critique months and months ago, and I just selected her from a whole long list of people. So congrats. I'm excited to dive into this. Erin is her name. Beautiful work, and I can tell that she has a lot of potential here, but because of some lack of curation, I think it's just overall devaluing her brand, and I'm going to show you how I would fix that if I were her. So she's offering seniors, families, and groups, but up here on her portfolio, if you click here, she has seniors, families, engagements, and groups. I don't want to get into, there's a lot of things that I would do if I was doing a website critique, but I am just talking about curation here. So when you go to portfolio right here, you can see a lot of different options. And so what I have done is that I have clicked into each folder full of portfolio images, and I've looked for images that I think pop as the most high end. All right, so out of all these, and a lot of these have kind of a similar style and edit to them, but there's only a few of them that I think would actually promote her to booking a higher end client and being able to raise her prices. So I selected this photo. It's a lighter background. The outfit selection was good. The light quality was good. I'm actually going to tweak the edit on this JPEG just a little bit, and I'll show you why in a second. So I selected that photo from here. And then in the senior category, I selected this photo because that has a lot of great potential to look good as a header photo. But there's a lot of things that I would not select here because they're distracting and it would not elevate the brand, like the bright blue Jeep or the light in this photo. This photo is actually very well lit. This photo is well lit. I would get rid of this. This could stay. Anything with even lighting could stay. So this would not go. This would go because the background is overexposed compared to his skin. I'd get rid of this. It's bright red, drinking a Slurpee. Yes, it's a funny photo, but it's not elevating the brand. So we have to make very strategic decisions. This is tip number one. You have to have a redefining concept around what is going to push me forward. You have to get rid of some things in the past when you started your business, like, oh, this is a quirky, fun idea. That may not push you forward where you want to be. Now, if you want to continue to shoot senior portraits where people are drinking Slurpees, that's going to bring on a certain level, a certain type of clientele that may only pay to a certain level. If you want to elevate your brand and be more of a high-end senior photographer where clients are paying thousands of dollars for the portrait experience instead of hundreds, you're going to have to curate to make it look more high-end. And that means getting rid of distractions, cleaning up what you show as far as lighting. Your actual technical style has to be consistent. And then getting so picky as to like backgrounds and outfits. So now that we're talking about getting rid of uneven light, we're talking about getting rid of distractions, we're talking about getting rid of unwanted elements, and now we're even saying down to, if you're wearing a distracting outfit, I'm not going to show you on my website, because believe me, even though there's a lot of great examples and you can tell you've done a lot of work on here, it's actually devaluing you because the light here and the light here look completely different. So it would be better to show less and make it more consistent than to show more and feel like, look, I've done so much, I've had so much experience. All right, so I have one more folder. I picked a family photo, taking all those tips that I just mentioned in mind. I'm looking through this list. I'm looking for another vertical that fits the bill for great light. It's even lighting across the board, decent outfits that aren't distracting, and nothing heavy or distracting in the background. So you might think that this photo would fit the bill, but I think the sky looks a little bit artificial, and the light on mom's face is very different than the light on daughter's face. And they have their toes cropped off. So I'm not going to use that one. Instead, I came down and I selected, let me show you. I selected this shot because I know that when I take that into Lightroom, even though it's a screenshot, I can brighten it a tad, and they're wearing great outfits. The background is light and natural looking. It's gonna look great. So that is a much better pick than this, simply because the colors in this are more natural, which lends you to think more valuable, more high-end. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to take these 3 vertical screenshots and I'm going to redo the header of her website to show you. I forget the name, but there is a study that has been done neurologically. The way that you perceive your first impression of something will dictate how you form an opinion about the rest of what you see. So that when people land on your website, they have to believe that you are extremely valuable in order to keep that level of value in their mind as they're scrolling through the rest of your site. When I blog my weddings, I blog this kind of cluster or kind of editorial collection of photos at the very beginning, where it's a great portrait and then 4 detail shots. And the way that I do this, the reason I do this is because even if it's a low-end wedding, I can shoot some detail shots and piece them together to look like this is the beginning of a magazine article. And it trains someone to form an opinion about my work before you ever see the rest of the wedding. So before you see the real true details of the wedding day, even though I still curate the entire blog post, you have formed an opinion that Katelyn always shoots beautiful weddings. They always have great details. They always have the same type of light. Is that true? Well, no, but I have curated so intentionally that I've made my audience believe that it's true. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to do that for Erin's site. Okay, so if I've already preloaded these screenshots into Lightroom, and I just want to show you from an editing perspective some things that I would do to these screenshots. Now, this is not a RAW file. This isn't even a high-end JPEG file or high-quality JPEG file. It's a screenshot. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to brighten this up just a little bit, okay? If you are like, oh, what is she doing to brighten that image? There is a free editing class. I will link it below. You can watch how I edit, learn how I edit. But this is just a few slight adjustments. I'm brightening up the shadows. I'm getting rid of some of the heaviness, but not getting rid of the detail. I'm going to pull down a little bit of the yellows so that the green grass in the back doesn't look too overbearing. I'd love it if their feet were included, but they aren't, and that's okay. So I'm actually going to crop in a little bit so it looks like that was actually an intentional crop. Okay, so that one's done. Now, let's look at this image compared to this image. This image is looking brighter, more vibrant, but next to this image, it looks like a completely different photographer took it. So we're going to, whoops, let's go back here. We're going to brighten up this image, all right, just a little. This has a little bit more haze, and so adding pop to this image is going to be just a little bit more dramatic, okay? Now, if you think like, oh, I like this, but she's getting a little bit of a color cast under here, then we can fix that. We're just gonna come here with a brush. We are going to do the KJ Light Nuzzle brush, but I'm going to desaturate a little bit more than normal. We're gonna get rid of some of those unwanted highlights there. This, and you might think like, Katelyn, I don't see you do anything. You will be able to tell in the before and after. All right, getting rid of that little bit of orange there. Anything where there is color cast on the shadows or the edges. Okay, now let's zoom out. I'm going to crop in a little tighter. So we get, there we go. Perfect. And I'm also going to take a little bit of the yellow out as well. Okay, I actually think that we could potentially, not to get into the weeds here, but I'm going to warm up the highlights a little bit. So this is, this used to be split toning. And now it's called color grading, and it just warms up the highlights, shadows, and midtones in whatever hue you desire. So, okay, so we warmed that up. Let's actually look at that before and after, just so you can see. So that was before and after. All right, now we're gonna do something similar to this image. Now, again, this isn't gonna be perfect, right? Because I'm literally editing screenshots for her. And editing screenshots is never the way that you want to update a portfolio. This is going to need some highlight adjustment as well. I'm going to do 40 with like an 18% saturation. And I am going to pull down the purple hues so his shirt is not so purpley. And I think that's a little bit better. Okay, so now is this perfect? Let me show you. I might make one of them black and white. Actually, I am going to make one of them black and white. Let me see. I'm going to zoom out here. Oops, sorry. So when I see these all paired together, I think this shot and this shot actually pair best together. So I'm going to make her, even though I did all that color work, I'm actually going to make it black and white. Why? Because black and white actually makes certain curations of images look more high-end. It distracts from any details or inconsistencies, and it gives your eye a break when you're panning across a set of images. So we're going to keep this as a black and white. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like to take these images and rearrange them on our homepage and to see what the different impact would be if you loaded it seeing these curated set of photos versus what you currently see. Okay, everybody, this is our final product. So we have 3 images re-edited, curated with intentionality. That could be potentially a new header for her website. And I want you to think about this. Does this look more high-end to you, or does this look more high-end? Are you going to pay $250 for a portrait session here, or does it look like potentially you could maybe $550, $650 depending on your area? These are her images. These are images that live on her site. They're already sitting there. They just needed to be tweaked. The styling or the editing looks more consistent. The piecing together, there's reasons why I piece these together. So for example, it would have been a little bit better if this shot included their feet and was really pulled back and we had some white sand around the bottom of their feet. It would have been better visually because our eyes like to have a visual break. I don't love that almost all of these are waist up portraits. That's not ideal. I could have done that a little bit better. There were some other family portraits I could have used, but the color of the outfits, the neutral nature of the color of the outfits was very intentional. The light background with a hint of green and a little bit of sky, a little bit of blue hint to the sky was intentional. The black and white of the girl in the middle was intentional because her image was too warm to pair beside these other 2 images that honestly are pretty comparable in their color toning. Those things all work together to look more high-end, and there is an art and an education side to learning these things to be able to look more high-end simply by being very, very intentional and picky about what you show. The reason why I share this is because I cannot tell you how many sites I've seen where photographers are wondering why they're not booking, they're struggling to make money, they're wondering if this job is even for them, how are they going to survive this? And the truth is, the answer to what they need is honestly sitting in their portfolio. They just don't know how to showcase it. They don't know how to piece it together. But if you're watching this and you're wondering like, wow, I wonder what my work could look like. Like, what could my website look like? What do I have hidden in my site that I never even imagined? I hope that these tips will allow you to go make some changes today that will impact how people perceive you as soon as they land on your website. This is crucial to being able to charge more and grow in your higher end clientele as you move your business forward. So it's important to recognize that when you are diving into these changes for your business, it doesn't have to be just because you want to charge more money. It also could be because you want to change your clientele and the style of what you're shooting. I used to shoot all these beautiful weddings, but they would have kind of chintzy details. And it's not that I was upset about those details, but I knew the details I wanted to shoot. And so I hid the details I didn't like and I elevated the details that I got sparingly. And once I did get a great bouquet, once I did get a really beautiful, decent sized diamond, I would just shoot the crap out of those things because I knew that those images were going to make me look like I am more elevated in my clientele than I really was. If you want to shoot black tie weddings, you've got to get a black tie, one portrait with a guy in a black tie on your homepage somehow. You've got to find a way to do it. Whether it's a styled shoot, whether it's a free shoot for someone, and you ask them specifically to be in black tie attire, you've got to find a way to do that because if you can curate to it, you will eventually start to attract clients that want it. So if you love this, if this was encouraging, this idea came from the fact that I've been doing this within our All Access community. This is one of the ways that I am showing up for fun and teaching in a way that I love to teach. Someone sent me an email and said, I don't know why people don't take me seriously. And I went to her website and I said, this is why. And I did this to her website and I curated different pieces and showed her, you are high end, you can charge more, but you're not showcasing yourself well. And I posted it into our membership, our All Access community for our members to learn from, and they absolutely loved it. So I decided to do a different version of one for you here. If you want to learn in this way, if you want access to this type of bonus content, it's all inside our membership. It's only $29 a month. It's the most affordable resource I can offer you that will be the most transformational on your photography journey. So that is linked below. I'm glad you tuned in. Let me know what you think. If you like this, if it was helpful, the comments help us predict and plan what is going to come in the future. Like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.